Very good morning to you. It's good to see you again today. I'm still looking at this lovely chapter in Isaiah 12. Beautiful, beautiful words. We looked at the first two verses of this chapter yesterday. And verse 3 of chapter 12 of Isaiah says, "With joy you will draw water from the wells of salvation." With joy you shall draw water from the wells of salvation. Now, why not personalize it and say, with joy shall I draw water from the well of salvation? It's there for you and for me. Thinking about this picture of drawing water from a well comes up quite a lot in places like Genesis. Back in the day, long before anyone ever had piped water into their homes like we have now, when every day, usually the women, not always, but would go to the well, the local well, and draw water for the animals and for the needs of the household. And it would be a daily task for someone because they wouldn't be able to store water for very long. And one always thinks, I think, when you think about wells, of the wonderful story in John 4 of Jesus meeting with the Samaritan woman at the well and talking about living water. And he talks about water again later on in John when he says in the middle of the temple area in Jerusalem, if anyone is thirsty, come to me and drink, and I'll give him water, and then out of his belly will come living water. Water is such a precious commodity. It's so important. We don't really suffer it here in this country, but many countries suffer a great shortage of water at different times of the year, and sometimes some years are extremely dry. We haven't had that problem since Christmas, have we, here in the West Country? We've had plenty of water. But water is vital for everything. It's the most I think almost the most versatile substance that we have around us. We can wash with it, we can and we can sustain life with it. We need it every day. And this lovely, it's like a psalm, it's not a psalm, but it's like a psalm. With joy I will draw water from the wells of salvation. We need that living water. We need that living water every day. Now, I'm not for a moment suggesting that we make a ritual of it. I think we actually need to be connected to the well all the time. But the idea of the water always being there, it's always there. The water is there, and it's up to us how much we use it. It's up to us whether we go to the well or whether we try and live our lives without it. A lot of people try and live their lives without it. They don't want to be dependent on anyone, let alone God. They think that dependency on God is a sign of weakness. And, you poor, weak Christians need God, but I'm managing on my own. But actually, it takes a lot of courage to cling to God, because if you make him Lord, you could end up anywhere in the world. You could end up doing all sorts of things if you acknowledge him as Lord. It's not a weak thing, it's a wise thing. Behold, God is my salvation, it says in verse 2. I will trust and not be afraid. For the Lord is my strength and my song. He has become my salvation. There's a lot in these verses, as we think about them, of how to live when life is difficult. You might say, how can I possibly have joy in my circumstances? With the things I'm facing, the things I'm dealing with. You don't know what I'm dealing with. No, I don't know what you're dealing with. But God knows. And God has provided you with all the resources you need to face what you're facing, to live in the circumstances in which you are living, to live a victorious life, an abundant life, a full life, a life in union with Him. And when I think one of the most wonderful things is when life is difficult and you feel a bit low and down and you think life is a struggle, put on some music. Music is wonderful. Music lifts your spirits. It really does lift your spirits. You can't stay sad and listen to some of the rousing music that has been written. I'm not a great favourite of popular music or of the very upbeat kind of music. I like the kind of lyrical music, perhaps the sort of music that John Williams writes for his for the films that he has, and then they take you to another place. But by contrast, when you turn on some worship music, and we have all of that worship music as a resource on the internet now, we don't even have to go out and buy a CD anymore. We can get it on the internet. And you turn it on and you join in, and that song of praise to God lifts you from that place of desolation to a place of faith and love. God has given us resources. We have to use them. You could die of thirst sitting on the edge of a well if you refuse to put your bucket in and get some water. There's a thought for the day. Have a wonderful day. I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.